You can't believe everything you see on the internet. Pop culture hubs like Twitter are full of erroneous and misleading claims, just like this post by Iam_Sonia. The article is titled, "Are Dogs Colorblind, or Can They See as Much as We Do?" But the fact of the matter is that dogs are neither colorblind, nor can they see as much as humans can. So the question is, where did the myth originate? The earliest we can date this back to is 1929, when a widely circulated scientific article claimed that dogs were completely incapable of perceiving color. Gregg et al. Presented the dogs with different combinations of colored lights that were filtered through different colors of paper. Based on what color series they were shown, the dogs would either have to climb up some stairs or stay put. If the dogs walked when they were signaled to stay put, they were slapped with a piece of wood. When the colored filters were replaced with plain tissue paper, and the dogs were still able to perform the correct behavior, the authors concluded they were colorblind because they were responding to the brightness of the light instead of the colors. But there was also negative conditioning taking place, so fear may have played a role in how the dogs responded to the series. Plus, the methods used have been questioned to the point where the findings were thrown out altogether. So can we really trust them? And that's not all. In 1937, the founder of National Dog Week, Will Judy, wrote in his manual, Training the Dog, "It is likely that all the external world appears to dogs as varying highlights of black and gray." If a famous dog lover who decided to dedicate a whole week to dogs says dogs are colorblind, they must be, right? Wrong. Dogs are only partially colorblind, meaning they actually can see colors. And even though it isn't to the same level as a human with normal eyesight, it can be compared to a human having red-green color blindness. So the way we see color can be divided into two processes, sensation and perception. And dogs have functioning aspects of both. Dogs have the physical means, aka the structures, to take in sensory information about colors, specifically wavelengths, to then differentiate what colors they're actually seeing. Let's talk basic anatomy of the eye. Dogs have this layer of tissue in the back of their eyeballs called the retina, just like us. The retina has photoreceptors that trigger nerve impulses, which travel down the optic nerve to the brain, where the image is formed. It doesn't matter if we're talking about rods or cones. Neitz et al. 2001 and Miller et al. 1995 both found the same things. Rods don't give you a whole lot of information about color because they only respond to short wavelengths between 506 nanometers and 510 nanometers, which is the blue-violet spectrum. Especially when the central part of their retina is loaded with rods, dogs have more visual acuity to that darker end of the color spectrum. But having a bunch of rods doesn't mean there are no cones to detect color. Neitz and Miller confirmed that dogs do in fact have cones, and even though they only take up 10% of the retina's area, their presence confirms having the physical means to detect some color. Dogs have two types of cone receptors, making them dichromatic and able to see colors at the two ends of the spectrum, blue and yellow. One cone type is sensitive to light with short wavelengths from 429 to 435 nanometers, which is seen as blue, and the other type detects larger wavelengths of about 555 nanometers, which appears yellow. In 1989, Neitz found that the absence of red-green cones means that these colors probably appear to be white or a shade of gray to dogs. Based on these findings from Neitz and Miller, Kasparson et al. 2013 further confirmed this blue-yellow dichromacy when they trained dogs to associate dark yellow paper or light blue paper with getting food, and then switched the shade of the paper to see whether the dogs were using brightness cues or color cues to get food. So let's say a dog was trained to learn that the feed box with dark yellow paper would give them meat. It would then be given the option of either dark blue or light yellow paper. If the dog tried to open the box behind the dark blue paper, it would show that it had based its original training on brightness. If it went for the light yellow, it would indicate it had actually memorized the color associated with the treat. All the dogs ended up choosing the color-based choice a majority of the time. So the research is there, and the anatomical structures are definitely there and working. Dogs are the equivalent of a human who is red-green colorblind, and even though they can't see color as well as we do, it doesn't mean they can't see it at all. The absence of red-green cones should not be mistaken for a complete inability to see and differentiate colors.